Well, it's good to know you're still with us. The program is Breakfast Weekend for those of you that are just joining us. Marriage is a sacred institution, and when people walk down the aisles to exchange the vow, a lot of things are expected. And of course, the end is that till death do them part, they are going to be together. But somewhere along the line, we found out that a lot of things happen that put a big question mark to the outcome of some of these, marriages. And we're together today looking at what could be the reasons. And we're looking at a very major reason, which is infidelity. Infidelity has wrecked a lot of homes, and we have experts with us in the studio today to discuss this with. We have Mrs. Tope Abiara, a marriage and family counselor with us. Good to have you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And we have Mr. Tope Babalola, a relationship expert, who is also going to be discussing with us.
Thank you.
It's good to have you, sir.
Thank you very much. First, before we delve into the discussion proper, let's set the parameters for the discourse. Infidelity. And I'll begin with you, ma'am. Give us a broad overview of what it implies.
Well, infidelity is basically like a violation of a contract between spouses.
Okay.
Or really, probably in a relationship. But today we're talking about marriage.
Yes.
Okay. So it's like a violation of, it could be assumed contract or your stated, because like in premarital counseling, when I do that, I do ask questions. Is cheating allowed? Because cheating is also infidelity, and you have to have this stuff stated out. Is it allowed? If your spouse cheat, what would be the outcome? Like if you should find out, what would you do? What would be the outcome? Are you allowing it? Is it okay for your spouse to cheat? So sometimes we assume that our spouse will not cheat, or we could actually state it. Okay, I don't want you to cheat. So that right there, when
is cheating not infidelity?
It is. That's what I'm saying. It's the same. It's a synonym. Like infidelity and cheating, they both mean the same thing.
But why would you want to ask them how they will react to it if their spouse cheats?
It's called premarital counseling. You gotta know. Don't assume.
Okay.
Some people feel like, okay, if I cheat, my wife will have no problem with it. She will not react. It's okay.
Okay.
Well, so you have to state it out.
So that each person knows.
Yeah, let's know for sure.
Let me clarify something. Infidelity, and I'm taking that to you, sir. We're actually privileged to have two toppers in the house. It's a pleasant coincidence.
Yeah, it's a unique name.
Yes, it's a unique name for special people. I'm changing my name.
Your wife will just take the fee before you can change your name.
You have to pay us. Yeah. I'd rather stay with my name. So I take it to Mr. Babalola. Okay. Still taking it from where Mr. Abiara dropped it. Let's expand on this infidelity thing. Is it just about the sexual act?
I was going to say that of course, aside the fact that you need to ask people, is cheating allowed? I think the first question we should ask them is, what is cheating to you? What is infidelity to you? Because what is infidelity to me, might not be it to you. I mean, it's not all about sex. Invasion of privacy could be it. Allocation of time could be it. Sometimes you feel that you're chatting with your female friend and you're with me in the house. That's disrespectful. You're cheating already. So you need to understand, like, you cannot love someone by your own definition. You have to love the other person by his or her own definition. That's one of the things I've seen in marriages. You want to love your partner the way you think love should be expressed. That's not it. You need to get the definition of love from that person to love them the way they want to be loved. And so for you not to cheat on someone, you still need to understand what cheating means to them. Because some people will not assume that you're cheating with them until you have sex with some other party. But to some people, by hugging a person, you're not faithful. By spending time on your phone with a person, you're not faithful. It does not matter what you're talking about. Our decision is that, okay, when we come back at night from our different workplaces, we spend the whole evening together. And so if someone else is invading that time, you're cheating with that person. So you need to understand the interpretation of infidelity or cheating, as she has rightly said, to a person. You need
So
to
from
understand
your
that.
spouse's perspective,
That's the way it works.
you must understand what your spouse defines as infidelity,
Yeah.
before you even go into the marriage. And if you're already in the marriage, take time to speak to each other to find out what the definition of infidelity is, so that you can adjust yourself.
That's it.
And maybe talk through some things. Now, I'm happy that you've been able to set that parameter for us. Now we understand that it's not just about the sexual act. It could mean if you spend too much time with a particular person of the opposite sex, that could be termed as cheating by your spouse. If I prefer to take some issues to a particular friend of the opposite gender, is that cheating rather than taking it to my spouse?
Okay, well, let me say this. You see, Mrs. Abera mentioned it while she was, starting off, that you need to talk and take details. You need to, because I have discovered that if you have issues with communication, you will have issues with every other thing.
True.
Okay.
You have issues with every other thing. Now, for instance, when I was going to get married, we both agreed that our issues stays with us.
Okay.
It's a deal we made sure we settled that before, that our issues will stay with us, whatever happens, because whoever we're taking it to will have to talk to us too. And well, you are intelligent by my own evaluation, and I am intelligent by your own evaluation. That's why we're coming together. So we can handle. So whatever it is they are going to tell us, if we can sit down and think through, we can have.
What about if it's not a personal issue? If it's work related or business related, and I feel that I can get better judgment?
For me, I feel that the first person to talk to is still your spouse.
About any issue.
About any issue. I feel that, in fact, don't get married to the person that is not your best friend. Because that's one of the things I've seen in homes too. We are couples, but we are not friends. So you need to be friends first before you are couples. Because if you don't do that, you're going to have issues. So, in fact, your spouse will be the one to advise most of the time. I think you should talk to someone else. I think we need a third opinion. I think with that, you're not cheating on your partner. But it is strange, it is unacceptable for any spouse to be hearing stuff about the husband or the wife from a third party. It's hard to take. So I think the first person you talk to whenever any issue is up is your spouse. And then you take it up from there if you have to talk to someone else.
Then Mrs. Abera, there's always a point in marriage where husband and wife are having, challenges. Sometimes they hardly speak to each other. Now at such moments, what do you think should be their response to when they have an issue to discuss? Should they settle that first, or what should they do in that situation?
And does that promote infidelity?
Especially when one is not ready to back down for the other.
And does that promote infidelity?
Okay, so let me start.
We'll take it together.
Yeah, okay. So when you have, number one, you shouldn't get to that point in a marriage. When you're starting to get to a point whereby the two of you are not able to let go of situations and come back, marriage is about compromising. You have to be able to compromise. You're not always going to be right. The other person is not always going to be right. If one person is always right, then it's like an abusive relationship for the other person. You have to compromise. So, but when you're at such a level whereby the two of you are not talking, like Mr. Babalola said, you have to be able to have each other's back. You have to be able to talk to each other. One of the things about marriage is this: you leave your differences. You make sure your partner sees you as the person that they can talk to. If I'm having an issue, and no matter what, maybe my husband and I were not talking, and it is an issue, I should be able to pick up the phone and talk to him, and he let go of whatever situation, because he knows that at this moment she needs me.
Okay.
Do you understand that? And so definitely it promotes infidelity if that is not there. Because we always need somebody to be there for us. So when your spouse, the person that's supposed to be always there for you, it's not filling that gap, somebody else will.
Yeah.
That's the human's nature.
So are there strategies that one can adopt? Because it's easier said.
And
Every adult knows that when you're married, you don't keep, you don't put up tantrums, or you want to stay for days without talking to each other. But it happens. You go, I'm going to wait for you to talk to me first, that kind of a thing.
to apologize first.
So people know what to do, but they need strategies as to how they can get themselves to do it. Are there strategies you give people when they come for counseling? I'll still stay with you, Mrs. Abiera.
First thing is you have to realize that in marriage you can't be selfish. It's a psychological thing. You have to be able to because one of the things is being immature. Like, okay, you have to come to that level of maturity that you know what, I can't be selfish. I don't know if you understand what
I
I'm
do.
saying. Okay, because when you're speaking to yourself,
Make it about the other person.
yes, you have to put your spouse first. Sincerely, that's what makes marriage work a whole lot, aside from God. You have to be able to put your spouse first. Okay, if this was me, how would my spouse feel? You understand? So when you start to think about the other person, okay, I'm not talking to him, I'm not, I'm not cooking for him, I'm not, you have to be thinking to yourself, how would this create a gap that could affect my spouse?
Now, you just established for us one of the psychological activity or act that could instigate or promote infidelity. Are there other psychological acts, Mr. Babara?
Well, there are a whole lot. Recently, I was talking at a monthly conference that I hold for couples and singles of marriageable age, and the topic I was taking for this edition was partners on strike. You discover that for whatever.
Because we just talked earlier about season of strike.
You really?
But that's in relationship, labor union strike. Yeah. But partners on strike really got me.
That was the topic we treated, and you discover that for so many reasons, I just go on strike on you. I just feel okay. I was recently talking to a couple. The wife got sick, and the guy has been nursing that for a while, helping her out of the place. And at some point, he got so tired of it, and there was a breakdown, and I'm just not into this anymore. And I told him, I said, come. I said, you are not a giver of life, you are not the taker of it. You are not a giver of health, you are not the taker of it. It could happen. And life is so dynamic that tomorrow, just tomorrow, you never can tell what's going to happen. It might be that position. But let me tell you this woman will stay indebted and very grateful to you if you can stay with her through this process and she finally comes out of it. Because you see, I've discovered that relationship is all about banking stores. You need to bank stores. You need to bank good acts. You need to bank, you need to bank
bank accounts.
Yes. You must put your spouse in a position where he feels he owes you one. Oh, when I was in this position, he was there for me, and so now that he's in this position, I must be there for him.
I still think that a lot of people know this, but the discipline, the mental
I'll get to that now.
For them to really do it.
In fact, some of the time, knowing it is one of the reasons why infidelity is promoted. I'll tell you what I mean.
Please.
For instance, every woman knows that their man needs sex. Every woman knows. It is not in the knowledge, it's in the readiness to do what they know. Now, and for whatever reasons, I'm tired, I'm stressed, I'm this and that, we can't strike a balance just talking about this very briefly, but I just want to try and capture it. They deny their husband sex. The husband is angrier because he knows that the wife knows that he needs sex. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. If he does not know, it is excusable. But this woman knows that I need sex, and yet he's saying no on a consistent basis. For that reason, I'm no more indebted to him and to her. I want to go out and have sex because it's like she is doing it intentionally. Now, what we think we know in marriage, we don't really know most of the time. Because the woman too is thinking, he should know that I am actually so busy. I've gone to work since morning like he did. We are no more in the era of me staying at home and he going to work. So he should know
So
too.
both of them are working on assumptions.
On assumptions, and I go as far as telling my wife sometimes, if I feel that, okay, I'd rather prefer you in bed than on the table, don't bother to cook. We could buy that out, we could eat out and all of that. In my attempt to strike balances. Okay, don't get yourself stressed out on cooking this evening.
Miss Abera, you have
was
a
going to say
take on that?
something.
Well, that's a good strategy. I love that, the one whereby you could tell your wife, let's eat out, and I prefer that. But I have to object to something that Mr. Babalola said, and that is the fact that the wife knows that the husband needs sex.
No, you're saying the husband is assuming the wife
No,
knows.
he's saying that, like, I believe from what I get is that men tend to believe. No,
let me correct, because I'm moderating. What he's saying is that the wife is thinking to himself, she knows I need this thing. So it's an assumption on the part of the man. The woman too is assuming, you should know that I've been busy all day. So the two of them are working on
They're not talking about it.
And they're not talking about it.
The time they don't talk about it.
So the man is saying the woman should know.
Okay,
the woman is saying the man should know.
What I'm trying to say is
in the same way that many wives are saying to themselves, this man should know I need his time. But they're not talking. And even when they talk, the men have this stone wall because they think I have
But
so
this
many
is
other
what I'm
things.
trying to say. Coming from a woman's perspective and being a marriage and family counselor for a long time, I do hold seminars about this, and I say it a lot at my seminars. A woman does not know that men need sex to the extent that the men need it.
Okay.
They don't have that knowledge.
Okay.
You have to tell them. So that's why when I hold seminars, I do let the women know it's like food to your husband. You can't be denying your husband of sex, all in the name of the fact that, okay, I'm busy, or maybe we're not talking, or you offend me. Even if he offends you, get over it. Your man needs sex. It's very important to your husband. But women don't know that, and we think they know it.
That's what you're saying. The man thinks she knows. And that's an assumption.
Let me say this.
And that's an assumption.
It will amaze you if you take, the opinions of the husband of people that have attended your meetings. It will still amaze you to know that they've not yielded, despite the fact that they've been told by you.
Now, what I'm getting from this is that more communication.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, as you were talking now, it struck me that communication fidelity is about alignment.
You can say that.
Infidelity could mean non-alignment,
Right.
non-fidelity, that is non-agreement. So what I'm getting here is a lot of people go into marital relationship with a lot of assumptions, and those assumptions can be cured if you do a lot more open communication. And we need to also understand that there's a mental fortitude and a mental discipline and mental exploration that couples need to embark upon as part of the things they need to do to prevent infidelity and cheating. Because we don't have enough time, we're going to have to bring you back someday to really talk extensively about this issue. I would like us to move into the other areas, the socio-economic areas, before we close, because we have just a few minutes. What are the lists of socio-economic indices that would also promote infidelity?
Well, when a man does not, like you said earlier, when a man does not feel like I'm able to provide enough for my family, it's hard to find a job. Do you understand? So when you're not meeting up to the expectation of your wife, that okay, I'm not able to rise to that level, because we all have a mentality of what we are to be, of what is expected of us, and sometimes all of this is based on the lack of communication. If you can talk to your spouse and you're able to both agree on, okay, right now we're not on that level yet, and all that. So we have this level as a man. The man is the head of the family. The wife is making more money than the husband, and all that stuff like that. When a man it feels like I'm not on top, like I'm not supposed to be, there's a tendency to look for somebody that doesn't see him in such a situation. Because when you have a mistress and you just giving that mistress whatever amount you have, and she appreciates you, you will prefer that person rather than you give money to your wife at home and she's like, how much is this? What's this for?
So that validation also helps.
So that right there. So it's and also there's the peer pressure.
Peer pressure.
My friends are doing it, or I want to match up to my friends. You know, my friends are all hanging out. When I saw them, they all have mistresses. Why can't I have one? Let me do it. Even though at the back of your mind, you do feel that it's not right.
Yeah.
But because you want to feel among, you do that.
Well, I want to borrow a leaf.
And as you are borrowing a leaf, please also touch on, let's also seek to address from the women angle also. Because women also cheat.
Yes,
they cheat.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Aside the fact that a man is not at a position where he feels he should be in terms of his monetary stance and all of that.
And what society's expectations are.
Yeah. Another thing is respect. Sometimes the man feels I'm not respected enough, and it's shocking because I just feel that in my long years of dealing with relationships, I feel that some of the girls out there, they understand this issue of respect than the wives are told. I don't know, maybe it is because of familiarity, I don't know because I don't know why, but I just sensed it, that you just discover that, okay, he's not respecting me, and she's not respecting me, and the person I'm talking to out there, in my mother tongue, and they say, oh my yoko, something like that, she understands better how to treat a man than the way, I don't know, maybe if eventually that other woman comes into...
No, in the home videos, that's what happens.
It's definitely, I'm over here laughing. It's definitely the familiarity, because when that person shifts from being a mistress into like maybe a wife.
In the home videos, that's what happens.
But I still
it usually even gets worse.
Yes.
I feel that...
So Isabella is putting her finger on it, that is the familiarity.
I still feel that even in the place of familiarity, you see, like I said the other time too about some other stuff, you need to understand what your spouse refer to as respect.
Yeah.
You need to understand that, because you know
is our concept of respect, validation, and affirmation.
Yes,
respect, validation, affirmation.
Is important. Some men, in fact, most men are not asking for too much in place of respect. He doesn't respect me. She doesn't respect me. You should ask, what exactly are you looking out for? When you talk about this respect thing, that's one thing that we should be conscious of, especially the female folks. They should take out time to check out for that. Then you talked about peer pressure. Let me say this: it will amaze you to know that men are configured to be the game breed. What I mean by that is that men are configured to play games, especially with women. They feel like, okay, that lady is pretty. She's pretty, and let me just try it out. I just want to know how good I am talking to that. It's not even, sometimes it's not the pressure. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not the pressure.
Sometimes it's the pressure. Sometimes it's
not.
Sometimes it's just the man thing.
It's just the nature of a man. Oh wow! So, you mean I'll let this just slip by my fingers and I won't try it out?
That sense of conquest.
You know, and it just goes after and all of that. In the long run, he might even discover that I don't really need that. I just did this for the sake. It's because, and that's where discipline comes in. When it comes to the subject of infidelity, make sure that you're disciplined. I tell people.
In fact, I was going to ask that in closing. What will be the capsule that you will recommend in terms of
I think discipline is an essential one. Then I tell people, don't stay around what you don't want. Because I've seen many people act like I'm a very big boy. You're just a boy. You might be big boy, you're a boy. And you can
a bearded boy.
Anything can happen anytime. It's easier. It's not that it's out of place, but it's easier for a woman to manage such situations than guys. Guys are more susceptible to those kind of issues. So I tell, well, let me just delve into the Bible. When the Bible was talking about infidelity and all of that, For every other sin, he said we should oppose them. For the sin of infidelity, he said we should flee. I take to your heels and run away. Because it's not something you can stand there and manage.
I think that's the only area in the Bible where God said flee.
Flee, yeah, because you need to really flee before you know what is happening in the twinkling of an eye you are in need. Some of the time we are in need before we know we are in need.
Mr. Vera.
Yeah, I will say
In closing.
I would say that being very much involved with your spouse, like you guys are really close. So whereby you have like maybe you have somebody that's already putting the pressure on you. If you have an open communication with your spouse and you're like informing them, there's your spouse is able to keep you in check. You understand? Your spouse is able, especially maybe your spouse is not a jealous kind of person. When you have a jealous spouse, they could escalate. But if you have that,
non-jealous spouses.
Yeah,
Do you exist?
Yeah,
Okay.
I exist.
Sure.
You exist.
And I agree.
So definitely, so your spouse can keep you in check. You need somebody to keep you in check. While you were growing up, your parents kept you in check.
And spending time together also
yes,
helps.
spending time together, so that way you're able to talk about everything together.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mrs. Abiara. And of course, thank you very much, Mr. Tokwe Babalola. Well, it's been infidelity in marriage. That's been the topic. And you've heard it all. You need to be disciplined. And of course, you need to spend more time with your spouse and communicate with your spouse from time to time. And that could be a life or marriage changer. The program is still Breakfast Weekend. We're going on a break and we'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Open the door to the enemy.
Impact Africa Television. Explore, entertain, elevate.